finally getting around to doing this ATEEZ Storytime or ATEEZ Fansign experience. It's been difficult for me to do because I've avoided a lot of ATEEZ. I've had really bad post-concert depression, but it's been worse than that because it's been post-Fansign depression, and that's something I've never experienced before. And it's been so bad that I haven't even been able to listen to an ATEEZ album until probably midway through last week. I mean, I've listened to a couple of songs, but to listen to especially their latest album, which has some songs on there that just make me want to cry, as you may know if you watch the channel. So it was really hard to sit down and do this because even editing, just looking at all the footage, I was getting really weepy. But I'm okay now, so let's do this. ATEEZ surprised us all by announcing they were coming to Australia. There was a My Music Taste campaign going. It's just, you know, you start it, the thought of ATEEZ coming here was, I think, beyond what most of us thought would ever happen. I was ready to fly to Asia or somewhere to see them. Next minute, they're coming to Sydney and Melbourne. So I decided to go to Melbourne because it's a bit closer for me than Sydney. It's about a 4-hour or 3.5 hour flight. So I managed to get my VIP ticket with high touch included, and I'll talk a little bit. I'll do another quick chat about the concert when I put up all my concert footage. So I thought, great, I'm going to see them, I'm going to get high touch, this is a dream come true. But I knew in the States they had actually had special things like, they called it Feel the Wave, but it wasn't called Feel the Wave in the States because they hadn't brought out the new album yet. But they had like a special, not a fan sign, but a special meet and greet with them where you had your photo taken with them. And it was very exclusive, not many people at all. And I thought that they might have it here, and I think it was about US 300 odd dollars. I think it was worked out to be just over 500 Australian dollars. And I thought they might announce it, and I'll put money aside. But in the meantime, I had all these dramas at home with money and my cat and that sort of thing. I still had the money, but when the tickets finally announced they were going to do the special package, they called it the Feel the Wave package here, I couldn't bring myself to spend the money. And ATEEZ are like my kids, I love them so much. But God, I just couldn't bring myself to spend $500. And I didn't really know what the Feel the Wave package was going to be, like how much interaction we were going to get or anything like that. I still don't. So if anyone went on that, can you tell me? Because I actually haven't seen anyone talking about it on Twitter, only the fan sign. But, so that included, I think that included a photo on your camera of your choice, and you got to ask questions, and I think they drew the questions out, and as I said, I didn't go, so someone, if you can let me know. I haven't seen any photos from there or video or anything, maybe they weren't allowed to film. It also included a lot of merch, like probably at least $250 worth of merch, and I don't do merch, so for me, it wasn't going to be, it was a lot of money, right?
Especially when you also have to fork out over $1,100 for airfares, accommodation and taxis.
So I decided against it. I mean, there were tickets, they sold out in Sydney first. There were still tickets just sitting there for Melbourne, and I could have got one, and so I didn't, and then they sold out. And then I cried. I cried for a day or two. Until they suddenly announced that there was going to be a global fan sign. So a global fan sign is a thing they have not very often at all. They do not have many global fan signs. I think they had one in LA before KCON. I think they had one in Germany. I don't know where else in Europe they had one. If there was anywhere else in Europe, and you know, let me know. But you know, it's not something they do all the time. So anyway, a couple of days after the Feel the Wave package sold out, they announced the global fan sign, and I was like, yes, oh my God, this is my chance. So look, I'd already decided I could afford around $200. I was willing to risk $200 at a chance to see them. I know it sounds weird. I didn't want to pay $500 to definitely see them, but I was willing to risk $250 because I could afford $250. And I thought if I can buy 10 albums, I reckon I'm in with a pretty good chance. Because, you know, a lot of people have already spent a heap of money to get into the Feel the Wave package, so maybe I won't have too much competition. Turns out, I got in. So yeah, 4 o'clock the week before the fan sign, and found out I got in, and I cried for about half an hour, and then I went into full panic mode. Full on panic mode, because I didn't want to meet them. I was too nervous. I was scared. I was really, really scared. And that went right up until I sat down in front of Seonghwa. So for a week, I was having full-on anxiety and shaking, and I mean, the plane ride was excruciating. Guys, I was in such a panic because the fan sign I'd already booked my tickets, my flights. My flight didn't get in till 5:05 and the fan sign, you had to be there between 6 and 6:50 to register. So I was panicking all the way, and oh my God, then the flight was delayed. The flight was delayed 20 minutes. So I was having an anxiety attack. I was having an anxiety attack on the plane all the way there. I was just so nervous about meeting ATEEZ. Like, I was shitting myself. And then when we got over Melbourne, they said, oh, there's a delay in landing because of air traffic, because there'd been bad weather. The fuck? So we were just chucking laps around the airport. Finally got in about 5:30, and I'm like, where the hell? I had no idea, because I never caught a taxi from Melbourne. I usually just get on the Sky bus. Never caught a taxi. And I'm standing there, and this guy in a suit comes up. He goes, need a taxi? And I'm like, yes. Grabs my bag and starts running away with my bag. This like older sort of like Italian looking guy. He looked about 50, between 50 and 60. I have no idea. He's got my bag, and I'm running after. He's like, it was just like this. It was just like that. He was off with my bag across the road into this freaking underground car park. So I'm chasing after him. And I was saying, I need to get to South Bank. How much is that? And he goes, 75. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty good, because I'd already done quotes and it was going to be more than that. So I said, you a taxi, Uber? He goes, oh, private chauffeur. And I'm like, okay, fine. Get in the car. He said his name was Gabriel. I'm like, okay. Meanwhile, I'm on Twitter going, I've been kidnapped by a private chauffeur named Gabriel, send help. But essentially where he's going. And then he had navigation on, right? We got stuck in traffic, of course. He had this, and it was, I can't even describe it. It's called the boy band navigation, the voice. And it's this weird boy band voice sings it sings the directions to you.
And then turn right.
Whoa, it sounds so bad.
In 0.1 miles, turn right. And then turn right.
And I'm sitting there going, why the hell is this 50-year-old guy got a boy band voice happening on his navigation? And then I looked at myself, and I'm like, Frankie, you are a 54-year-old woman going to see a boy band. I cannot judge. And it all just seems so poetic. So anyway, we got there. I finally turned up, slightly bedraggled. I had to store my suitcase. We had to take a number. We had to show our ID and everything. And I got number 25. So I was right down the front. And then I realised, oh shit, I'm number 25. Yeah, second row. Panic stations. But I'm glad I was quite early, because otherwise I would have sat there for the entire time not enjoying it, panicking about meeting them. But I was glad I was early, because once I met them, then I could relax and just enjoy the rest of the fan sign, which was amazing. And I do have about 4 or 5 videos up with footage from the fan sign, so make sure you check them out if you love ATEEZ like I do. Right, so I think I'm going to make a little video about how to do your album and get it ready for the fan sign. But for my music taste, you ordered your albums, and then they provided you a wave version album at the fan sign. So when I got my albums delivered, which was after I'd got back from Melbourne, there was only 9 albums. So that's how they sort of did it. And they gave instructions on what you could and couldn't do. I still wasn't too sure, so I was we had a group chat, thankfully, and people were sort of swapping advice back and forth about how to get ready for the fan sign. And we had to think up questions, and also, so we just took your little book. Well, they gave us an album at the fan sign, but if I'd had to get the book ready at the fan sign, I would have had a breakdown, because it took me so long. So I actually already had a wave version. I mean, I could have taken Illusion. You could take any of the 2 albums. So I decided to just get mine ready at home. But I was in such a panic. I ended up going to work, and I was at work till 1 o'clock in the morning the day before I was supposed to fly to Melbourne, because I wanted to write stuff in Hangul, but I'm shit at writing in Hangul. I'm really slow, and I haven't been practicing my Korean. I mean, it took me half an hour just to get their names right, because you put little tabs on the book so they can find where you want them to sign. That took me half an hour. So I drove into work, which is not far, and I did a bunch of stuff. So what I ended up doing was, you're allowed to ask them all a question, and you start the question. I got on a little post-it note, so you stick it inside your book, which I did, and then also we put put a little thing where you want them to sign it. So that was Sans. They said you can do the question in English or Korean, so I wanted to do both. I think I got most of the translations okay because I cross-translate, I translate then translate back, use between Korean and English a couple of times to make sure it sticks on different translators. I usually use Papago. And then sometimes I chuck it in Google afterwards just to see if it comes back correct. I think a couple of them didn't translate very well, and the rest of them did translate well. But I found ATEEZ actually could understand English more than they could speak English. So they understood a lot what you were saying, but had trouble conveying it back to you in English. So that's why I did it in both. And also what I decided to do was, because, see, this fan sign wasn't about, I mean, of course, I wanted to enjoy myself, but it wasn't about me. This was about them. This is my opportunity to make these gorgeous boys feel special and loved. And it was all about them, all about being able to say to them what their music means to me. And I'm sure it was for all the other A-teenie that were there. So to make sure I got my point across, and not sure how much English they were going to understand, I made some little cards.
The reason I wrote it down instead of speaking the words was mostly because I'm a giant crybaby and I was certain if I tried to tell them I'd end up bawling.
Like this. So one for each of them, and we weren't allowed to give presents. They weren't allowed to keep anything. So you see all the props they're wearing and stuff like that. They just, the staff gave them back at the end. And these, we weren't allowed to give them letters or anything. But I just brought these as my little flashcards, and it's got English on the back, and then it's got a really bad Korean translation on the front. So what I said to all of them, I haven't even got the English translation here. I basically said, it just said that I was very proud of them. They've done really well. I feel like a proud mum, and that just how happy their music makes me. And then I thought I'd say something a little unique to each of them, just a little something about all of them. I mean, and I know a couple of them are a bit stupid, but I don't know. I was tired and I just couldn't think of what to say, but I didn't want to just get up there and, I don't know, I just wanted to convey how much they mean to me and just say a little something special to each of them. So that's what I did. So when you see me in the footage that I'm going to put up, when I first come up there, I'll sort of hold something. You can see them reading. I'm holding this up, and you can see them reading it, and then they kind of respond to it, and then they sign, and then they answer the question. And yeah, that was about it. That's what happens at a fan sign. I was number 25. When we got in there, we actually had to take a number. So I was only 2 rows back, and you can see, I'll put a picture up, you can see my big head sitting there. So I was really excited because I was right at the front. Only had one person, and it was very steep. So, there was no one blocking the view or anything. And so we actually were a bit slower. So I got nearly 10 minutes for eight of them. 10 minutes, that's a long time. I can't believe I got over a minute with each of them. By the time they got to the end, it was shortened to about 8 minutes because they started rushing. And there was staff there sort of ushering, like, time's up, move along. I mean, sometimes it wasn't my fault. Sometimes it wasn't the fans' fault that they were taking so long. Sometimes ATEEZ were actually having a little chat. So, yeah, but I'm thankful. I got nearly 10 minutes with ATEEZ, and I'm just, you're going to be down. It's probably the best K-pop experience I've had ever. Yeah. Dream come true. Like, I cannot say how happy I am that I actually got to experience it. See, I'm getting choked up thinking about it. Oh my God. But anyway, I'm going to go through. I'm going to put up a little frame. It's going to show you the sign and the question and answer. Luckily, I had 2 lovely girls filming me. I had Manda from So Obsessed With. She's on Twitter and YouTube, and a lovely girl whose name I can't remember, who was sitting just in front of me. So we filmed each other, and then Amanda and I also filmed each other. So I actually got 2 angles, which was good because in a couple of them I'm blocking them because I'm not exactly small. But thankfully Amanda was up high so she could get a better shot. So I've cut between them. The footage is a bit dodgy because when you have to zoom in that far, it's going to be shaky, and I think everyone's fan sign footage was pretty shaky unless they had someone with a professional camera and a tripod there, which a couple of people did. So anyway, I've just crapped on. I am crapping on. Let's just get on with it. Okay, so first was Seonghwa. I think I'm just going to watch it and just sort of narrate what's going on because I was going to crap on and then, but it's like a minute. So here we go. Right, sat down, and once I sat down, he was so beautiful and so smiley. I was immediately at ease. But I just said to him, he read my little card, which which was the same for everyone, that, you know, I really love your music, you're doing well, you make me so proud, you make me happy, blah, blah, blah. And then I couldn't think of anything else other than all the HMAs and Omas on Twitter say hi. Because so many people asked me to say hello to him. So many people are in love with him. So I just thought I'd let him know that he's got some lovely auntie fans that really adore him and his music. And then I asked him the question, which was, what's his favourite steak dish? And you can see him, just there. He just said, I just had it for lunch. He said steak with red wine sauce. I said lead wine sauce. It was so fucking cute. I nearly cried. So anyway, he was telling me how he likes that. And then he wrote the answer down, and then we had a little chat, and I asked him if he'd been to Hosier Lane to see the graffiti, because there was some ATEEZ graffiti. I'll put a little snap of that. And then we just had a chat about if he'd done any other sightseeing. He hadn't, and I asked him if he'd seen kangaroos. He said he hadn't seen any koalas or kangaroos yet, so I told him to go to the zoo and have a look. I don't know why the security guards came over and looked at me like I was trying to, I don't know what. Look at him. What's he doing? Like, I can't go anywhere because the girl next to me has to move first. That security guard, well, he was sort of like a staff, but he was also doing translations. And if I'd known he was doing translations, oh my God, I would have had people translate stuff, because a couple of, Yunho didn't understand the question, if I'd known anyway. So that was Seonghwa. Okay, next is Hongjoong. My son. I tell everyone he's my son, everyone on Twitter, and we fight over him because a lot of people want to adopt him. He's between he and Mingi, my heart is in shreds. So, that's right. So what I said to him was, when I held up things, I said, congratulations on Aurora, and it was so beautiful that it actually makes me cry, so thank you. Right, so he read that. Oh, hang on, we'll start it now, let's go. He read that. He's holding it there, you see, he reads it, and he goes, thank you. And then, look at him, high five. And anyway, so then I told him that I'd tell everyone he's my son. And he starts laughing. And then he goes, and then he goes, high five. And then he said, I just actually phoned my mother. See, he does it in a sec. Come on, do it. Oh. He goes, yeah, I just phoned my mum. It was so cute. And I said, don't tell her about me. And then the question was, if you had your own clothing line, what would you name it? And he's sort of like, yes, I do want my own clothing line. See? He said, yes, I do want. And then he goes, he writes it down, and then he turns the book around at me and starts laughing. Because he goes, shung, shung. He's so cute. And he asked me if I was coming to the concert. So I said, yeah, of course I'm coming to the concert. But I don't know, we were just laughing. You know, just chatting with Hongjoong, and then we did the finger thing. What a beautiful boy. I'm absolutely in love with him. Bye. Bye, Hongjoong. Okay, next was Yeosang, and I cannot describe to you how beautiful he is. He's stunning. So, went up and sat with him. Let's go. So here's Yeosang, looking beautiful like a Robin Hood. And I told him that I loved his vocals at the start of Illusion because it's one of my favourite songs. It's probably my second favourite song off the album, and it's just really makes the song for me. So he just sort of said thank you. And then I decided to ask him, because I know he likes playing with drones and snowboarding, so I asked him what's an extreme sport he would like to try that he hasn't tried yet. So he's saying, what's the one where you go up? Watch him. He's like, what's the one? He's thinking. What's the one where you go up? Yeah, up in the sky. He's so cute. And I'm like, skydiving. He's like, skydiving, that's right. So he's like, have you ever gone skydiving? And I said, no. And I said, when I'm old enough so I don't care if I die. Oh, and he goes, no, Annie. So he was really sweet. And then I can't remember. Oh, and then he said to me he would love to go skydiving, but they don't have time in their schedule, and that made me sad. Yeah, he said the schedule, they're too busy, and he can't go skydiving. So I told him. So I ended up telling him in the actual high touch after the concert. I don't know if he remembered me or not, but as I went past, I just went, "Go skydiving, Yeosang!" So yeah, sad. You know, I guess they all want to do stuff and they haven't got time, but it made me a little bit sad. Guys, next was my favourite boy, my best boy. My first bias, my best boy. My love, Mingi. Look, Mingi had a bad experience the week before where a fan site, or someone who was, you know, the people who get paid, who get money to go to fan signs on other people's behalf. I think one of those girls wanted to get Yeosang in some sign, and she got Mingi, and she chucked us out and threw the album on the ground or something like that. I'm not sure of the whole story, but it made me angry. So I just wanted to make Mingi feel extra special. And I had one of these notes, but you see, I've only got 7 notes here. Do you know why? Because Mingi kept my note. Mingi asked if he could keep my note, and you're not allowed to give him letters, but he asked if he could keep my note, and I'm crying about it still, because you can see him when he asked to keep it. And what happened was, when they had a prop or something that we gave them, they would either keep it on their head when we left, or they'd put it beside them for staff to take away. He actually put the note under his sleeve. I'm not sure if you can see it in this. You can see it in the full footage because I've cropped this. He actually puts a note under his sleeve so the staff can't see it. And I think he did keep it because when they brought out all the stuff at the end, it wasn't there. And I know that one of the other girls gave him a small plushie, and he actually stuck it in his pocket. So I think Mingi's a little sentimental and likes keeping things. But what I said to Mingi was, we'll start playing it. So I said to him, his note was, you're my favourite, but don't tell the others, and have a happy birthday. And he's like, shh, won't tell the others. I love you too. And then he asked, can I keep it? Oh. So I said, oh, okay, if you want to. So then he put it under his sleeve. Anyway, and then we had a chat. I was asking him how old he was. I mean, I don't know how old he is, but I was like, oh, he's laughing there because I said that both my kids were older than him, and he thought that was hilarious. So, yeah, and then we just had a little chat. And he asked me if I was coming to the concert and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't even know what we're talking about here. Oh, that's right, no, the question. The question was, and I know his father, I think, was a dancer, and he loves dance. And I asked him if there's a style of dance he'd still like to learn, and he said old school hip hop. So that was his question. And I said 90s, and he's like, yeah, 90s. And I imagine his father is about the same right age group that his father probably did 90s hip hop. Oh, look at him. Look at him. Hi, Mingi. God, that made me happy. That was just like, probably, yeah. Mingi, well, there's a couple of highlights, but Mingi keeping my note was the highlight of my entire weekend. So, anyway, next. So, next was Yunho. Gorgeous boy, my squishy. And I think I complimented 2 or 3 of them on their voice because, I mean, that's why I love them, right? Their voice. So I told Yunho that he has the voice of an angel, and it was a pleasure to hear. And the funny thing is, with his question, I couldn't translate his question. I wanted to ask him because I know he likes Harry Potter, right? So I thought, if there was a spell you could cast over the dorm, the chores at the dorm, what would it be? Meaning, the bathroom cleans itself, or the kitchen dishes do themselves, something like that. But I couldn't get it to translate, and it ended up translating to, I just gave up, something like, what spell would you cast? And then he didn't quite understand that, so he just gave me a Harry Potter spell, which was fine. And I should have got the translator over, but I didn't realise at that stage till I sat down that the guy was actually translating for people. So you see, he thinks for a while, he's trying so hard, he's so gorgeous, to think of an actual spell, but he just ends up with one of the Harry Potter spells. I don't know what it is, but if you can read Hangul, I haven't even tried to read it yet. But he was so cute, but here it is. So he sat down. Yeah. So I told him he had the voice of an angel, and he was awkward. I told him I called him my squishy. Oh, he's so sweet. He was really sweet. But he keeps thinking, he's got this pen and he keeps thinking, he's trying to think, what spell would I cast? What spell would I cast? And then he, poor love, just gave up. I felt so bad. I wish he'd understood the question. So I felt like I tortured him. Trying to come up with a spell. Look at him. He's like, oh, God damn it. Why would you ask me? I can't think of a spell. God damn it. I feel like a horrible person, but he's still thinking. Still thinking of a spell. And then look, the translator comes over. Piss off. The staff come over. They were nuts. No, they weren't mean. And it's so cute. I think we were talking about sightseeing and stuff like that. Look, the guy saying, "Move, lady." I'm like, wow, okay, just let me say goodbye to my son. Thanks very much. Bye. Bye. Next was my beautiful Wooyoung. So he's like, my daughter double buys as Wooyoung and Hongjoong. But Wooyoung, I made a promise to everyone who loves Wooyoung, which is a lot of people, that I would tell him how special he was. Let me find the piece of paper so I can tell you exactly what I said to him. Because I've seen him on V Lives and stuff like that, worrying about his weight and stuff like that, wanting to go on a diet, and I just wanted to let him know that he's perfect. So I just said, you are perfect as you are, please marry my daughter. And then he said, how old is she? And I said 23, and he's like, oh, and he starts laughing, and then I said, yeah, it's a bit old, isn't it? He was really cute though. Hang on, let's go.
Just cutting this clip in here with the sound as my daughter pointed out that you can hear him laugh, and now I'm emo.
So, and his question, so there was, yeah, he starts laughing. And he asked, he's laughing, he cracked up. So, yeah. Look, he's asking how old she is. He's funny. So anyway, I asked him what computer game he really loves, because I know he likes gaming. I said what computer game he really loves, but he's not very good at. He said he was bad at most computer games, and he said, have you heard of LOL and FIFA? And I'm like, yeah, my son plays those. He goes, oh, they're my favourite. And then we chatted. Look, I don't even know, as I said, I don't even know what we're chatting about. Look at him, he's just so, he's thinking, he's like, yeah, I'm really bad at all games. Do you know this game? Do you know that game? I'm like, yeah. He's so sweet. Oh, I'm so glad Amanda filmed, because in the other footage you can't see him at all. So thank you, Amanda. What a sweet, gorgeous boy. Oh, I wish I could voice record the conversation. It would have been amazing. But anyway, I had the experience and I'm happy. Bye. Look at him smiling. Oh, my heart. I was a little bit afraid of Sun. I was a little bit afraid of him because I thought Sun, I was a little bit worried about all the boys having a much older fan come to a fan sign. I mean, I know older fans must go, but I don't know, I just feel like I stand out like a sore thumb. I'm older, I'm sort of big, I stand out, and I just was really nervous about how they react to me, but they were all beautiful, they were all lovely. And I felt like Sun would be lovely to older fans. I mean, not that the others weren't, but I felt like Sun might be extra lovely to older fans, and he was. And he actually sung to me. Now, I'm not the only person he sang to, I think he sang to a couple of girls, but he was the sweetest boy. So what I actually said to him was that let's see, the start of Twilight makes it one of my favourite songs, and it's because of your voice. And it was, this is how I feel about you. There is no song I love more than that, at the beginning anyway. I probably have a favourite song on every album. But when I mentioned that, he sings it to me. In the original footage you can hear Amanda going, is he singing to her? Yeah, he was. Sung to me. And anyway, you'll see, it's quite obvious what he's doing. Let's go. So Sun somehow, and I didn't even realise until I watched the footage back, he had on a policeman's hat and the Australian flag. So he read it and he starts singing with his straw. See, I feel like that. Oh my God, look at him. My heart. Twilight, like, how did this happen to me? I'm #blessed. Oh, no. But anyway, I know Sun's quite sporty, so I asked him if he was going to represent Korea in the Olympics, what event would it be in? And he said it was Taekwondo, because his father, and he starts having a chat here about it, he's telling me how his father owns like a Taekwondo studio and teaches. So yeah, that's what we're chatting about there, about his dad. And yeah. I just can't believe I sat there talking to, look, I just can't believe I sat there chatting to any of them. But having it, yeah, see, he did a little taekwondo there. So I was very happy. Bye Sun. And then Sun, then he wouldn't, he can't sit by himself. So if he's got no fan in front of him and he's got someone on either side, he'll just like try to get involved in that conversation. And at the beginning of our conversation, I was like this, because because he kept trying to talk to Jongho, and I was like, okay, I said something and it said, don't tell San. I can't even remember what it was now, it was stupid, but anyway, it was fun. And now last but not least at all was beautiful Jongho. I just complimented him on, I said how he had such a beautiful and such a strong voice for such a young person and how far he's going to go. So yeah, he read that, and let's go. So you can see at the beginning, San's killing himself, and then Jongho put some hat on, and everyone squeals, so I sort of stepped aside and said, hey, there you go, everyone. San's still trying to get involved in the conversation, and I'm like, yeah, tell San to leave us alone. But yeah, he was really sweet, and I was talking to him as well about, you know, is there anything they want to do in Australia, blah, blah, blah. But my question to him was, because I know he's, you know, known as being very strong, I asked him if he had to replace one of the Avengers, which one would it be and why? So his answer was the Hulk, and I'm like, because you're strong? He goes, no, because I look like him. And I'm like, what do you mean you look like him? You don't look anything like him. He goes, yeah, I look like the Hulk. I'm like, okay, you look like the Hulk. But he writes Hulk. Oh no, hang on. And yeah, that's when I say to him, because he's strong, he's, no, I look like him. He's so cute. He's so cute. He's a sweetie. He's laughing. Sorry, I'm just narrating exactly what you're all seeing, but hey, see you at the concert, bye. And that was it. And then it was over. And then we sat down and had another 2 hours. Had another 2 hours of the boys just sitting there in front of us. Between, you know, when they weren't signing, they'd have a little chat and, you know, put props on and stuff like that. And then they came out, we sang Happy Birthday to Mingi. I mean, that's all in my, the previous 3 or 4 videos. They did Dancing with Butterfly Wings as their performance, and I nearly cried then and there because that is my favourite song off the album. And I've said to my daughter, God, can you imagine that being the last song, you know, the last song of encore at a concert? And it turned out it was actually the last song at their concert as well. I just stood there crying. But I'll do a quick little story about the concert and just put up some footage later. I'm also going to put up some footage of how to prepare your photo book for a fan sign. Just because I had a lot of people not knowing what to do, and I think the way I did it, and most of us, we all chatted amongst ourselves about how to do it, and so we all pretty much did it the same, but you know, the easiest way to make it easier for everyone on the day. And yeah, so that was my ATEEZ fan sign experience. Probably one of the best K-pop experiences I'm ever going to have, to be honest. It was, to top that, I mean, concerts are amazing, but to actually sit there and, oh no, now I'm going to get emotional. To be able to sit there and tell these boys, so to be able to sit there and tell these boys how much they mean to me and how much happiness the music gives me was just a gift. Okay, that's it, bye.